All right, take number two. I just it's one of these situations where you want to say so much about a song and you just can't fit it all in, and you just stumble all over the place, and well, it can get a little frustrating sometimes. I shouldn't be telling you my problems, but how you doing, Mr. DJ? I'm only human, like that Billy Joel song. We're supposed to make mistakes, right? And I'm rambling, ramble gambling man. Up to number two on my fantasy playlist, March 18th, 1983, we have got Styx, Mr. Roboto, concept record. If you're watching this video, chances are you probably grew up in the late 70s and early 80s, or maybe graduated from high school during that era. Styx was extremely popular, a very much a well-loved band by a lot of teenagers. Remember reading, I believe it was 1980, 1981, Styx was voted the most popular group by teenagers or young people, early 80s. Now, as far as I'm concerned, now I wouldn't put Styx on the level of the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. But gosh dog it, they had their moments. Come Sail Away, the splendor of that synthesizer in the interlude of Come Sail Away. That was a Sergeant Pepper moment right there, reminiscent of the progressive rock and roll of the late 60s, early 70s, nicking a bit from the Moody Blues on that record. And they were capable of just versatility. You got well, Lady was their first big single, although their first Billboard entry was, what was the name of that record? It was Best Thing, went to number 82 in 1972, and Lady in 1975 blew them into the big time. The album after that, Equinox, didn't do as well. Lorelei, kind of one of their best records. Wouldn't you agree that that was one of their best records? Great fantasy record. Only got as high as number 27 on Billboard's Hot 100 despite hefty airplay. And then there was Sweet Mademoiselle. Where are you going, Sweet Mademoiselle? Late summer of 76. Tommy Shaw on lead vocals. You got the ballads like Babe and Too Much Time on My Hand and Too Much Time on My Hands, late 80, early 81, an up-tempo record. The working class angst of the angry, the frustration just evolved into Blue Collar Man back in the fall of 1978. And Renegade, a lot of Styx fans really into Renegade, which came out in 1979. Sing for Today. Does anybody remember Sing for Today? That was a nice record by them, early 1979. But let's get to Mr. Roboto. Mr. Roboto, well, there's a character, Kilroy. Kilroy was here. Robert Kilroy, a rock and roll performer, played by Dennis DeYoung, the keyboard player. Robert Kilroy got thrown into a futuristic prison by a group called Majority for Musical Morality, an anti-rock and roll group thrown into prison, futuristic prison. And there's these robots, these robotos. There's one model of roboto that's a janitor that just does menial work. But there's also prison guards, roboto prison guards. And Kilroy escapes by overpowering one of the prison guards, roboto prison guards, and he disguises himself as a roboto. And towards the end of the video, towards the end of the song, there's a character in there, I forgot his name, Jonathan Chance, played by Tommy Shaw, who meets Mr. Roboto. And it's really Kilroy. And Kilroy takes off his robotic mask and say, Kilroy, I'm Kilroy, something like that. And there you go. The theme, basically the theme of Mr. Roboto. It's a little bit more complicated than that. A&M Records. Well, here's the deal. Apparently, somebody wanted the first single off the album. Was it Don't Let It In? It was a single, Don't Let It In. But A&M Records said, no. Mr. Roboto, first single off the album. Went to number 3 here in the States. Mr. Roboto. Styx kind of at the end of their, well, basically their hit career. having hit records on Billboard's Hot 100. And of course, Dynasty Young and oh gosh, remember Dynasty Young and Tommy Shaw? They had a solo thing going. Remember Desert Moon by Dynasty Young in the fall of '84, and Tommy Shaw, Girls with Guns. The up-tempo rock and roll Girls with Guns, fall of '84. They were very talented. They were capable of strokes of genius. There's no doubt about it. Not consistent geniuses like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or perhaps even Led Zeppelin, but they were capable of it. They were cut above most rock and roll bands. And now, one other thing I want to mention about this record, 2 synthesizers are used. Part of the splendor of this record is the synthesizer that opens this record. One of the synthesizers that we used on this record, this is for you techno fans out there, Oberheim OBXA. The OBXA model came out in late 1980. It was sort of an improvement, a overhaul of the compact, the original compact synthesizer OBX. And the OBXA, oh my goodness, I read the roster of albums that this synthesizer was used on. It's been used on albums by Naked Eyes, Miles Davis, Police, Bon Jovi, Billy Idol, Thompson Twins, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg right there. Now, this had the XA, the OBXA had a better interface, or more user-friendly interface than the original OBX. And you could split the synthesizer into 2 halves and create different voices. And you could layer these voices easily, more easily layer these voices to create a thickness of sound. And gosh, this is fun. Just delivering information like this, even though I don't quite understand all of it about the synthesizers. Well, here we go. Mr. Roboto at number 2 on my fantasy playlist, March 18th, 1983.